You are watching the Ultimate Florida Sports Show. I'm Evan Closky with my teammate on this ride, Chris Porter. And after some R&R, Chris, it's nice to see you. A good week off. You have a good time?
Yeah, I had my niece and nephew in town. They played with my daughter, my first cousins, getting some love. They rarely see each other. We've got a jam-packed show for you today. A huge deal for Jags wide receiver and cornerback Travis Hunter. Some bold comments from FSU's quarterback. But we start with the latest on talks to sell the Tampa Bay Rays, Evan.
Yeah, huge news in Tampa Bay along with Jacksonville by extension. Rays principal owner Stu Sternberg is in advanced talks to sell the team to a group led by Florida real estate developers. The letter of intent is an exclusivity agreement at what we think is, what rumored is, $1.7 billion. This is not a purchasing agreement, so still plenty of work here to be done. Patrick Solipsky is the name to watch here. He's the CEO of Jacksonville-based Dream Finders Homes, Inc. He's also chairman of the board at Florida, appointed by Governor Ron DeSantis. So that's a key piece of information because while rumors are swirling, this ownership group might not have all the necessary funding in place yet. Tampa's best chance at getting the state to play ball for a new stadium might be through this guy who has the necessary political weight. We know Stu Sternberg spoke with his employees, letting them know this was happening. And reportedly, not happy about it. It's pretty clear he's been cornered here, but Stu also had 15 years to figure out a stadium solution and has not done so. Either way, this story is far from over, and I believe we are going to see a lot more screaming from other potential buyers before pen ever hits paper.
So, Evan, are fans in Tampa happy about this? And what does this mean for those in Orlando who think they've got a shot at getting a club?
Yeah, I think Rays fans are so over Stu Sternberg, which is sad to say because he has really done amazing things for this organization on the field. But off the field, he has lost all trust within the community. So assuming the Rays are staying in Tampa, which looks like the case here, fans are stoked. As for Orlando, look, they'll keep dreaming. The number one thing I've learned about through this process is those who are the loudest are likely the ones playing from behind. Orlando saw an opportunity, acted swiftly, but in the end, it has always been an uphill battle. Never say never, but Orlando will likely have to go through contingency options for other clubs who might be in similar stadium sagas.
So no doubt about it, we'll be watching this one closely because folks here in these parts, Jacksonville, they're very interested. From baseball to football, in particular, Travis Hunter. Hunter recently signed his rookie contract, and according to his agents, he got his $30+ million signing bonus up front. Hunter is the first non-quarterback not drafted first overall to get his signing bonus entirely. At the moment, he signed his name to the dotted line. Please excuse the fact that I live here in Jacksonville and covered the Jaguars for 16 years. Let me give you my disclaimer. I'm drinking all of the Travis Hunter Kool-Aid. And it did not start after the Jaguars drafted him. Check this out. A couple of months before the 2025 NFL draft, we all have our wish list for the prospect or prospects we want our team that we cheer for to draft. I said I wanted the Jags to select Travis Hunter. Check the air checks, go back and look, building the bench. I talked about it. At that time, the Jags owned the 5th overall pick, and we knew they'd have to trade up to get Hunter. And they did, turning this city upside down. Since day one, Travis Hunter has been everything Jags fans could ask for up to this point. We love his confidence. We love his swag. We love he wants to be the best player on the team. We love he wants to play both ways, almost every down. We love how he conducts himself on and off the field. We love the energy and excitement this two-way player has brought here to Duval. And I'm saying all of that to say this. Yes, we have no problem with the team giving him all of his signing bonus money day one because Travis Hunter has done more for this organization without having played a single game than we've seen any Jags player, current or past, in some time. In fact, you'd be hard-pressed to find a rookie, any rookie, who has not played a single game but has even the casual NFL fan talking about him almost every day, even if it's not always about football.
Yeah, and I think that I'm really excited to see Travis Hunter to play. I'm a believer in him. But it's time to see him go for a down now, right? A lot of talk.
Let's go!
More training camp. It's going to be talk. I want to see him play. As for the Stanley Cup, the Florida Panthers loved winning the championship, so much so they decided to repeat, joining the Lightning and Penguins as the only franchise to accomplish the feat during the salary cap era. And I have to give them credit. Besides their amazing play on the ice, they have been talking all that talk after winning the Cup, and they'll continue to do so entering next year. They want all the smoke. Some fans hate the chirping. I love it. If you win, especially twice, guess what? You get to say whatever the heck you want. It's up to the other teams in the league to shut you up. And I'm very curious to see how Florida plays entering a potential three-peat run. Do the playoff games start to wear down on them during an Olympic season nonetheless? Do other teams try to rough them up through an 82-game season? All I know is this team doesn't have to go through the flat cap problem like the Lightning a handful of years ago. So they're not going anywhere. Truly one of the most impressive teams we have seen win the Cup. They are a wagon. I am excited to see what's going to happen next, Chris.
What I always say, if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. And to beat the man, you got to be the man. And guess what?
Absolutely.
They're walking the walk, and they're going to keep walking until somebody else dethrones them. Let's talk NBA. This week, the Oklahoma City Thunder had more than 500,000 of their fans celebrate with them as they won the city's first Larry O'Brien trophy. The Thunder taking Game 7 of the series against the Eastern Conference champion Indiana Pacers. Game 7, SGA led the Thunder with 29 points and 12 assists. They called that a double-double. SGA, your finals MVP, joins some elite company as regular season MVP, finals MVP, and scoring champions. Congratulations to the Thunder. But I don't know how I feel about them winning the title, considering the Pacers' best player, a guy who had an outstanding postseason run, Tyrese Halliburton, went down in the first quarter of that critical Game 7 after he tore his ACL while attempting to drive to the basket. Listen, I did say before the NBA Finals started that I thought the Thunder would take this series in 5 games. The Pacers pushed them to 7. And to be honest, I don't know if the outcome might have been different or the same had Halliburton played the entire game. We watched him play some of the best basketball of his career in the postseason. He hit multiple game-tying or game-winning shots that kept the Pacers in each round. But ACL injuries, nothing new for the NBA. This year, and the league has raised an eye toward it, that notable Achilles injuries suffered this year by some of their primetime players. Now, it was good to hear NBA Commissioner Adam Silver speak about the notable Achilles injury suffered by Halliburton, Jason Tatum, and Damian Lillard, just to name a few. Silver said the league has met with experts, and they're looking to alleviate this issue. Now, it's something the NBA has got to look in, Evan, but all I can say about this is, what if Halliburton was able to play in Game 7?
It's going to be a huge what if, and every sports fan out there just wants best versus best, and it just stinks that we lost Halliburton there in the first quarter. Well, the NBA draft is in the books this week. Shout out to Walter Clayton Jr., pulling a Kobe and getting dealt to another team on draft day. He was selected 18th by the Wizards, but immediately sent to the Jazz. He's also the 13th Florida player to ever get selected in the first round. Not bad for a kid out of Lake Wales. I have 2 points to bring up with you, Chris. One, Can the NBA figure out how to give these kids the right hat? This isn't a rocket science sort of deal. If you know the trade is happening and the trade is getting pushed through, just let the kids enjoy their moment sporting the right team on their head. What are we doing here? 2, I think Walter Clayton Jr. is going to thrive there in Utah. I know it's been ugly there, right? But I also don't think that club is too far away from turning it around and making the playoffs again. I think they got some bones, and now you got a great point guard who can make things happen.
1, you think the NBA, they can get this draft hat thing right. I mean, they've been doing this thing called the NBA draft for decades. As for Walter Clayton Jr., there ain't no doubt about it in my mind. This guy is going to ball out in Salt Lake City. He's got the it factor that I enjoyed watching as he led the Florida Gators to their 3rd national championship. So jump ball, Walter Clayton and company, get it, get it. College football. And the college football season will be here before you know it. And a guy who played his high school football here on our First Coast, Ware County alum, Thomas Castellanos, making headlines. The Florida State Seminoles quarterback stirring things up for the comments he made about the Seminoles' Week 1 game against the Alabama Crimson Tide. Whew, here's what he said. He called out Alabama for not being the same program as it was under Nick Saban. He said he's excited to have the opportunity to prove what he and the Seminoles are capable of doing to the Crimson Tide on the national stage. First, Thomas, I loved covering you during your time up in Waycross, Georgia. Thomas, I love the fact that your confidence is through the roof. But Thomas, come a little closer. Let me remind you, because did you not play for the Seminoles last year? No, you didn't. So you may have forgotten that in 2024, they only won 2 games. They looked pathetic on offense, could not stop the run on defense. I know Kalen DeBoer and the Crimson Tide were 9-4 last season, lost the bowl game to Michigan. The program took a step in the wrong direction. But, bro, chill. This is a situation where you need to allow your play on the field to do all the talking, because last I checked, Alabama is still loaded with talent.
Yeah, and now you put your program in a bad spot because if you don't win that game, it's going to be egg on your face. All right, the March Madness tourney is about to get even crazier. Up next in the Ultimate Rush, we break down the plans to expand the tournament field, plus weigh in on our new deals for the Bucks head coach and general manager. You're watching the Ultimate Florida Sports Show. Time now for the Ultimate Rush.
This is where we have 1 minute to talk about some of the hottest sports stories here locally, statewide, or national. Evan, kick us off.
Thank you so much. The Buccaneers announced contract extensions for Jason Licht and Todd Bowles Thursday. Jason Licht has been in Tampa since 2014, and you have to give credit to the Glazer ownership group. Licht made a lot of mistakes early in his tenure, but they stuck with him, and now he's seen as one of the best GMs in the league. I think all fans are happy about that extension. As for Todd Bowles, this is where debates are had. Despite winning the division every season he's been head coach, fans still have not embraced him here. Sure, the game management has been an issue at times, and the defense has played soft far too often, but I don't care how bad you think the NFC South is. Winning the division is hard. Winning football games, hard in the NFL. Don't believe me? Ask Chris. 16 years covering the Jags.
Don't be shady.
A lot of those seasons not fun to watch.
Don't be shady. But you're right.
I've been around the team. I've been around the team during his entire tenure as head coach. I've never heard a bad thing about him. He's the first head coach since John Gruden nearly 20 years ago to get this extension, and it's well-deserved. I truly believe after this year is over, fans will finally embrace Bowles. He doesn't get enough credit for transitioning out of the Tom Brady era with a horrific salary cap situation.
And Evan, just a note for yourself. I can talk bad about my Jags. You can't. Just kidding. Just kidding. A decision on whether or not to expand the NCAA men's and women's basketball tournaments will be made in the upcoming weeks. According to reports, we're being told if the decision is made to expand, the expansion will begin in the 2025-26 season, and that the tournament would expand to no more than 76 teams. Despite significant pushback from you, the fans, NCAA tournament expansion talks have persisted. And folks, it's going to happen because the tournament is the largest revenue generator for the NCAA. It's also a way to make more money for their broadcast partners to redistribute to power conference schools who are looking for more revenue in the revenue-sharing era. In an ideal world, this would give more opportunities for mid-major programs that win their conference in the regular season but are upset in the conference tournament. However, we are not too naive to believe that this will be the case. I said all of that to say this: getting more March Madness, getting your brackets, circulating them through your office pools, at home with your family is not the worst thing in the world to happen. 68, 72, 68, 100, 1,000, I don't care. I love March Madness.
Yeah, in the end, we're just adding quantity, right?
Yep.
It's still going to be a lovely event. So Major League Baseball might have a problem on their hands. Fangraphs has the Tampa Bay Rays playoff probability north of 70%. So it's fair to wonder what the league will do with Steinbrenner Field come playoff time. And according to The Athletic, logistics are still up in the air. Amongst the issues are ticket shortages, gate receipts, and production concerns. All these are legitimate issues to bring up. But there has to be a solution here. You cannot tell me if the Rays make the World Series, they're playing in Atlanta or Miami. You cannot tell me a team that plays 81 games in a ballpark, plays 2 rounds in the playoffs in that ballpark, all of a sudden has to win the title at a neutral site location while the other team gets to go home. You cannot tell me, fans, you did right by them keeping this team in the area after a hurricane just to ship Tampa Bay out during the most important time of the year. Don't get me wrong, the Rays still have to make it that far, and tickets would be very expensive to go to these games. But if the Rays are in the World Series, those games should be in Tampa, they need to be in Tampa.
You know, for everything you just mentioned, it may be the reason why this team is up for sale. You have a home field, my guy.
This is a weird year. It is such a weird year.
Time now for the heart of the game. During this segment, we take you beyond the X's and O's and tell you the stories that remind you why we love sports so much. And today, it's all about a football player who plays her college ball off Kings Road here in Jacksonville at Waters University. Shelby Tokash. Tokash is the first female football player in EWU history. She's a kicker for the Tigers and is prepping for her second year in the purple and orange. When she's not on the field, Shelby is taking care of her 2-year-old son. Tokash on how she balances football and motherhood.
For bedtime, nighttime, whenever my mom would put him to sleep, you know, he'd always ask for me, and she'd tell him, "Mommy's at football, Mommy's at football." And so he'll repeat that, and then he would go to sleep, knowing that I was at football. And then whenever I get home, sometimes he'd be asleep, and I would go straight into schoolwork. And other times he'd be awake, so I'd be up with him and wait till he goes to sleep and then start my schoolwork.
Evan, this is just another example of you cannot underestimate the power of a mother's love.
Women just so impressed, and so impressed by that woman. Just an amazing stuff. All right, we are about halfway through the MLB season, and a couple of players are leading the way in the American League MVP discussion. Up next in the Ultimate Stakes, why a former Florida State player could be a good bet.
Time now for the Ultimate Stakes. Right now, we're going to get out our crystal ball and look ahead and go against the odd makers and tell you where you should put your money.
Always got to reiterate, we are not experts, just for entertainment purposes only. Chris?
Let's start with the MVP race in the American League. And Seattle Mariners catcher and former Florida State Seminole Cal Raleigh is not sleepless in Seattle. Cal, the first switch hitter ever with 30-plus home runs before the All-Star break. Fastest to 30 home runs in a season since Barry Bonds, should have heard of him, and Luis Gonzalez in 2001. He joined Ken Griffey Jr. as the only Mariners players to hit 30-plus home runs before the All-Star break. Now, not only is Cal doing everything right at the plate, but he's also last season's Platinum Gold winner in the American League, and he's having another excellent season behind the plate.
As of taping, Cal Raleigh is plus 475, and Aaron Judge is minus 1,000. So Judge is still a heavy favorite here. And while Cal Raleigh was probably like plus 2,000 a couple of weeks ago, I still think he is tremendous value. Only 8 times in the history of the sport has a catcher hit 40 or more home runs, and Raleigh is at 32 at the time of this taping. At the halfway mark, he is chasing Barry Bonds' record of 39 before the All-Star break. Like, this is an absurd run, and I know Judge's WAR is incredible, but his average has dropped nearly 30 points in 20 days. If this race is close, I don't see how you cannot give it to Cal Raleigh, because playing catcher is exponentially harder than any position out there.
No doubt about it. And, you know, playing that catcher position through the dog days of summer, it's going to be tough. To the NBA, and I know it's not been quite a week since the Oklahoma Thunder won the World Championship, but it's never too early to start looking ahead at which team could win it all next season. I'll say this. I like what the Houston Rockets did acquiring this man, Kevin Durant, and that blockbuster deal. The Rockets had an incredible season locking up the number 2 seed in the Western Conference playoffs, and Durant certainly makes this team a whole lot better. And according to Hard Rock, the Rockets' chances of winning the NBA title as of right now, plus 750. The reigning world champs, the OKC Thunder, plus 225. What about the Orlando Magic here in the Sunshine State? Plus 1,400. And what about the other team here, the Miami Heat? Plus, and it's not a typo, 15,000. Or at least the second half.
I'm not going to lie. I kind of like the Magic.
Yeah?
The East stinks. It's a good shot.
I hear you. Now, for at least the second time this season, a Major League Baseball player gets emotion on the field. The reason why, just awful, and it has Evan fired up. He's sounding off in the last word. Next. Welcome back. Time now for the last word. Take it away, Evan.
Yeah, for my last word, we're heading to Chicago, where it was heartbreaking to see earlier this week Ketel Marte of the Arizona Diamondbacks crying because a fan heckled him about his mother, who died 8 years ago in a car accident. The fan has since been banned from all MLB stadiums, and rightfully so. And I don't know how many times we have to say this, Chris, but just because these men and women are athletes does not make them any less of a human being. A ticket to a game does not give you the right to say whatever the heck you want without repercussions. I feel for Marte, because anyone out there who has lost a loved one knows when you get triggered, it is really hard to stop the waterworks once they get rolling. I love sports. I know you do too, Chris. It's our occupation, our life's work. It ain't that serious, y'all. Please.
And let's finish on a positive note with my last word. I'm sticking with America's favorite pastime, but focusing on the youth baseball team, the Ponte Vedra Athletic Association, because once again, they've proven they're a force to be reckoned with. They recently won not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 Cal Ripken State championships, showcasing a level of dominance rarely seen in youth baseball. And if you know anything about me, you know I love shining the spotlight on the young folk. The association had 5 teams win state titles, and for 2 teams, it was back-to-back championships. These are not travel teams stacked across the state, just some local kids, mostly living within a 5-mile radius of each other, coming together to create a youth baseball dynasty here in Northeast Florida. With back-to-back state titles and 2 divisions, Ponte Vedra baseball is building more than champions, but they are building a legacy. Congratulations to you guys. See you next week.
Yeah, congrats.